Hi, it's me again, here to do the last part of the three pieces of homeostasis. So we already looked at how your body balances the water levels. Right, your kidney does this in the excretory system. We looked at how your body balances temperature. And so now we're going to look at how your body balances the glucose or the sugar levels in your body. So remember that one of the big processes that occurs in your body is cellular respiration. And cellular respiration, remember, is how your body breaks down the food that you eat to get energy. So remember that it takes glucose, it combines it with oxygen gas, and you get out of it energy to do whatever your body needs to do. But you also get water and carbon dioxide, remember, as waste products that you get rid of by exhalation. And so that glucose balance, though, and they call it sugar. I hate that term. I mean, yeah, it's a sugar, but the proper name is glucose. And so that those glucose molecules need to be balanced in your body. And in your body, if you take a look at this diagram, and yeah, it's a little bit ugly, but it's not bad. So if you take a look at this straight and narrow means that there's a balance, and balanced glucose levels are about 80 to 90 or so milligrams of glucose in about 100 mLs of blood. And so that is seen as that is sort of the standard by which we look and say, okay, is there too much or too little glucose in your bloodstream? So remember, it gets in your bloodstream from your small intestines, from your intestines, right? You're getting all this digestion done and all of those capillaries that are around your intestines pull out the nourishment, right? Pull out that glucose that your body has broken down. And it's got to get to your cells because the mitochondria is waiting for it. And so how's it going to get there? It's going to get there via your blood. Your blood's going to carry it in oxygen to all of the blood cells. And so it's going to be in your bloodstream, okay? And so when you have someone that's diabetic and you see them picking their finger, they're taking their blood sugar level, their blood glucose levels. And their pancreas, which is the organ that is supposed to help moderate the blood glucose level, doesn't work. Either the pancreas doesn't work, or the protein maybe doesn't make enough insulin. Maybe in the insulin's a protein, and proteins are folded, and sometimes the folds aren't right. They're very specific um, folding proteins. And what insulin does is insulin is called a helper molecule. So you can have all this glucose in your bloodstream, but the cell is a little bit of a stinker. It won't let the glucose in unless it has insulin tagging along with it. And so insulin is called a helper molecule for that reason. And so insulin has to be in the bloodstream when the glucose molecules are there so that it can get into the cells in order to undergo cellular respiration. So it sounds really, really confusing, and it really kind of is. It's magnificent, but just stick with me here. So we have the straight line is glucose. And let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you. I don't know if this will work when I have this program working. I think it doesn't. Okay, and so we have homeostasis here. So everything's in balance, 80 milligrams per ml. And so the stimulus that tells your body to release insulin from the pancreas is your blood glucose level goes up. Well, what the heck's going to make your blood glucose level goes up? Anything that's a carbohydrate, right? So it could be, let's say it's breakfast. So say you ate cereal, or you had a Pop-Tart, or you had a scone, or you had a bagel, or you had, I don't know, Reese's peanut butter cups. Those are all high in glucose. And so when you eat your body, right, it goes through the digestive system. The digestive system is going to break it up into the components, and glucose is one of those components. And so that's going to get into your bloodstream. And so now there is that stimulus, is that there's now more glucose in your bloodstream. There's too much glucose in your bloodstream. So your pancreas goes, wah, 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 wah. It is stimulated to release insulin. And that insulin is going to do two things. Okay. So the first thing the insulin is going to do is it's going to stimulate the cells to take up the glucose. So the glucose and the insulin are going to go hand in hand over the cell membranes into the mitochondria where energy is going to be produced. The other thing that happens, which is really, really cool, is that unlike plants, we don't store our food, right? We don't make starch to store our food. But what your body does do is that fabulous organ called the liver, again, will take a little bit of that glucose, not a ton, not a big amount of storage, but a little storage, and it will store it as something called glycogen. Now it's going to stay there until your body realizes that there's not enough glucose, and your body will break that glycogen down in order to give you kind of like a boost of glucose in your bloodstream so that you can get that energy. Okay, so you ate the breakfast, brought your blood glucose level up, got the pancreas to release insulin. The insulin can help get the glucose across the cell membranes, right? Which is going to take blood glucose. It's going to take glucose out of the blood. Taking some of this glucose to make glycogen in your liver is going to take more of it out of the blood. So now your blood glucose levels are falling, and they're going to fall until they're into that 80 milligram per 100 or 90 milligram per 100 mLs of blood. Okay. And so now you're back to normal. So you're back to normal, but now it's 2:00 in the afternoon and you were having so much fun doing science that you forgot to eat lunch. And so what is stimulating, my sister's laughing at me over here. What is stimulating your body now? Well, what's the stimulus to your body is, remember there's stimulus and responses. You're going to learn next year that this is all called a feedback system. Okay. So the stimulus is your declining blood glucose level. Well, why the heck is your blood glucose level declining? Because you were having so much fun in science that you didn't eat. And so all of the free glucose in your body has been used up. Okay. And so what your body's going to do is go, oh, wait a minute. So your pancreas realized that, oh, wait a minute, there's a little bit of storage. And so it releases something called glucagon. I know. Which stimulates the glycogen that's being stored in your liver. So the pancreas is sending out this protein called glucagon. The glucagon breaks down the glycogen. And what was the glycogen made from? The glucose. And so the glycogen gets broken down. You now have glucose. Your blood glucose levels are going to start to rise. And now you're back to homeostasis. Okay. And so as long as you're eating the appropriate foods at the appropriate time, your glucose levels are going to stay relatively level. If you're diabetic, you have to manually control that homeostatic balance. And that can be pretty difficult. And so one of the things about if you eat diets that are really high in junk food, because junk food tends to be really, really high in glucose, is that it overworks your pancreas. You're constantly being bombarded by high blood glucose levels, and your pancreas is going, gotta release more insulin, and it's just always sort of in a frenzy. So if you can kind of try to keep the intake, I should talk, right? But you should try to keep that intake relatively balanced. But I know this is a little bit more difficult than the other two, but I'm so proud of you that you came and tried this, because it's a very, very important part of the homeostasis in your body. And again, if you're here, I'm proud of you, because this is not easy. And the fact that you want to extend yourself a little bit is just fabulous. So hope this helped a little bit. Go back and remember, on YouTube, you can slow it down a little. I tried to keep my tempo a little modulated, but I have a hard time with it sometimes. And I love this stuff, so it can be a real problem. So thank you again. And I hope everybody has a great night.